This week, you wrote an op-ed for the New York Times giving your 3 reasons why you said you're certain that Vice President Kamala Harris will win America. It will all be okay, you wrote. Every poll so far has shown this could go either way. Our new CNN poll shows the 2 candidates locked in a tie at 47%, and our latest polling average, no clear leader. James, why are you so confident?
Well, I think I laid it out in the Times piece. We have more money, we have more organization, we got a lot of things. One of the things that I didn't do because of space limitations that we're seeing is we have incredibly more surrogates. We have 2 former presidents, we have every kind of cultural, entertainment, athletic surrogate that you can. He's got nothing. RFK Jr. Okay, fine. Please put Red Rover, send RFK Jr. right over. And I am, if anything, more bullish on her chances today than I was when I wrote that. And I think over the weekend, we're going to see some polling that's going to show her in a somewhat improved situation. And the way I see this thing closing is on very favorable terms to her. And every piece of information I picked up today, both statistically and anecdotally, seems to be pointing in one direction. And I think the direction is she's going to win.
And I don't have to tell you, I know, I've seen the documentary, which, by the way, is great. And I've seen you work those phones. I know you're talking to everybody all the time. So I don't have to tell you that there are a lot of Democrats. And if you're in the Beltway, if you're in that corridor, all you hear is they are really, it varies from anxious to just throwing their hands up. They're, you know, that they're very concerned she will not win. One of their criticisms that you hear, and you hear this from voters too, to be fair, is that she is not clear enough on her policy positions, that they don't understand what she's trying to pitch to voters. Do you agree with that? And do you think that that will matter?
Well, frankly, that's a money question. Thank you so much for asking it. And Democrats are, a lot of them, I'm out here in Los Angeles. And if you want to see some lame, nervous, panicked people, come to the west side of Los Angeles. I was in Manhattan, go to the upper east side of Manhattan. I mean, these people live petrified. I don't live like that. And by the way, when people say, well, you know, James, she's just not clear enough on the positions. Let me say this. Donald Trump is very clear. He says, I am going to use the military to arrest my political opponents. And then they dispatch, then Lindsey Graham goes on TV, or Mike Johnson, and makes a utter fool of themselves and says, oh, no, that's not what he really means. Then he comes back and says, no, I really mean it. So understand exactly what is going on. He's going to have a rally tomorrow night at Madison Square Garden that is going to mimic a Nazi rally of 20 February 1939. And you know what the media is going to do? Said, well, he had a rally that mimicked Nazis, and Kamala Harris was in Tucson and had 12,000 people for a rally. It's not the same thing. And we got surrogates coming out that are going to point this out. And everybody, all these people I meet in airports, like, quit being so nervous. Go out and do your job, and let's win this thing, because we're going to win it. It's just that simple. I feel very, very confident. I would not have done that. As you know, you watch a documentary. I'm not a particularly ad hoc person. And before I arrived at that decision, I talked to a lot of people. I looked at a lot of data. In 4 days after I wrote it, I'm more convinced than I was when I wrote it.
Yeah, and in that op-ed, you really make the case that Americans have rejected this dark vision for the future. They've essentially rejected Trump at every turn since he won in 2016. And I'm curious, what makes you believe that Americans will do that yet again? Because you point to the fact that 2022, 2018, 2020, you know, you go through all of those elections.
Well, one of the things that that document didn't point out about me that's true is I'm a horse degenerate. I like to bet on horse races. And if I see a horse that's won 4 races in a row, I'm going to say, well, they're going to have to beat me, because I think the horse is, as long as they haven't lost, not going to lose yet. That's what the Democrats do. But you have this professional, I got to be fair crowd. Just like, I'm just saying what I see, okay? I'm just a truth teller. Well, I'm a truth teller. We have not lost an election. If you say we lost 2016, okay, I'll buy into the distributed fluke, but we lost. We won in 2018. We won in 2020. We won in 2022. We won in Long Island. We won in Florida. We won in Alabama. We won in Alaska. We're just winning everywhere. And every so-called cable TV jock or at-home quant or polling analyst says, well, but you got to look at where the independents are here, what's happening to young black males under 30, and a bunch of nonsense that people don't have any idea what they're talking about. So I'm not a guy that tends to equivocate much, but when I arrive at a decision, I like to think that I'll give it some thought. And I think that Harris is going to win the presidency next Tuesday. I just do.
What do you think? And look, you're talking about all the pundits and everybody that has opinions, but what do you think is the bumper sticker message that Harris closes with? We know that she's really highlighting the threat, obviously, to democracy. She was heavy on the reproductive rights issue, especially last night with Beyonce in Texas. What do you think is really going to connect and really motivate those people to vote for her?
It's the Constitution, stupid. We have lived under this Constitution since March of 1789. Trump is telling you that he is going to dismantle the entire constitutional order in the United States. He is telling you that he is going to turn the government over to a pack of theocrats and is going to turn foreign policy over to a pack of billionaires. You can see the evidence of this every day that you exist. And do I wish early on that we'd have had a little stronger position about helping the middle class? Probably so. But here we go. We got 9 days to go. And the existence of the Constitution and the system of government that we have had and treasured for so long in this country is at risk, plain and simple. And it needs to be covered that way. And I am highly critical of 80% of the media coverage that tells me that I do not understand their jobs. I understand it clearly. Your job in Birmingham was not to cover Bull Connor and Martin Luther King equally. Your job after Pearl Harbor was not to cover Tojo and Franklin Roosevelt equally. And we have to understand that our existence as a constitutional republic is at severe risk here. And we have to explain it to people in plain, unambiguous, everyday language that our children are going to accept the consequences of our negligence and our fake fair coverage that people come out with. So that's what I think we should do between now and Election Day.
Yeah, it's the Constitution, stupid. That's it. That's what you're saying the bumper sticker should be.
I'll try to come up with something better, but for right now, I'm going to go with the Constitution, stupid. That's what's at risk here.
And so on that note about coverage and how you think it should be handled, we see the Washington Post, the LA Times, the editorial boards choosing not to endorse a candidate, announcing this less than 2 weeks before the election, obviously. I have a feeling you're going to say that the Washington Post endorsing a candidate is not going to move the needle for most of America, probably almost all of America. But what do you think it says more broadly about the fact that they're pointing a finger at Jeff Bezos and said we were all ready to go and that's why we didn't do it?
That's something that people instinctively know, and this does nothing to prove it, that corporate power is responsible for a lot of public opinion in the United States. Now, you said something I want to address, that really, what good does it do if the Washington Post endorses somebody? I tend to agree with that. In down ballot races, for maybe state judge, city council, state legislature, it may matter. But what I think is going to matter is it's so public that they didn't endorse someone. And at the same time that you have Jeff Bezos ordering the Washington Post not to endorse anybody, at the same time that you have the gentleman that owns the New York Times ordering them, the Los Angeles Times, you have reports that Elon Musk is talking to Putin on a daily basis. So everything is being outsourced to corporate power, including foreign policy. And domestic policy is being outsourced to Project 2025, which wants to return a theocracy to the United States. That's not in the Constitution. That is anti-constitutional. And they're telling you right to your face, this is what they're going to do. And I got to listen to a bunch of idiots out there on television tell me how here I stand, I must be fair. I can do no other. I can only speak the truth. Well, speak the truth for once in your ignorant, flexible life. Tell people what's going on.
All right, and I want to ask you too about your
I have some strong opinions, I guess.
Well, that's why we have you on. We want to hear those opinions.
Well, thank you. Thank you for giving me the platform.